for the fury of those who are oppressed.
Oppressed people's nation. I'm only here for the people.
We'll be talking with another Olive Garden member of the family. Her name is Melissa. Tell us your story, Melissa. Give us your name, your whole name.
My name is Melissa Burns, and I started working for Olive Garden when they first opened the store. April 28th? April 28th, I started working for Olive Garden. Maybe in about July, August, sometime around that time, I found out about one of the managers, Danny, having a relationship with another employee, which her name is Jessica. And she, it was just between me and her. And I used to go to her house all the time. Me and her used to just kick it all the time. And one day I ended up going over her house, and Daniel was there with his little ugly little dog that he carried around with him all the time, and that yellow car that he drives. And she was like, well, you can't come over, in today because, I got, she's trying to keep it secretive or whatever. And she was like, I was like, where he at? And she was like, he back there. I'm like, come on out, Danny. I already know you here. You can't hide. He didn't say anything. So the next day we went to work, and he knew that I knew or whatever because he knew I was over there. And so he just started acting funny towards me, like telling me to do things, just acting different, totally different. And so one day, me and Jessica was in the back talking, and she was telling me about when they was together or whatever. She was like, don't tell nobody that me and him having a relationship because he can get fired, and I don't want to get in trouble either. Oh, I'm not going to tell nobody. I'm not worried about that, whatever. And I think one of the girls, what was her name? You know her name, Pam. She was over there. She came in and walked in while me and Jessica was talking about it. So I'm thinking that she went back and told Peter that me and her was talking about something about Danny and her having a relationship, because Peter comes to the restaurant probably like a month later and started questioning all the female servers about, is there any secrets going on at the restaurant that we need to let him know of, and if it is, because there's a big old rumor going around about something that he needs to know, and if we spill the beans, that he, we will still have our job. We won't lose our job. It'll be totally confidential. Nobody will know that they told us. So he kept asking me. He asked me like 3 times. Like the first 2 times, I'm like, I don't know nothing. Like I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard a rumor or nothing. And he was there for a whole week, and every day he was asking different employees. I know there's something going around here. I know that you and Dorothea have something to do with it. I'm like, Dorothea, I don't even know what you're talking about. He was like, you didn't hear a rumor or nothing. So I'm like, no. So I get up and I go back there and I tell Jessica, like, look, Peter is questioning me, and I already know what the question that he wants to know. I mean, I don't know what I should do. Should you want me to tell or whatever? And about this time, Danny and Jessica was having bad vibes against each other at the time. Like, they wasn't getting along. So they were like, he'd text her, and she'll tell him, don't text me no more, stop texting me, and stuff like that. So she was like, you know what? You can just tell Peter or whatever. I don't care. Just just tell him or whatever. I was like, but I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, just tell him. So I ended up telling them, and I wrote a statement. And I wrote 2 statements. The first day I wrote a statement, and I told him everything that was happening, how I seen him at the house, and they was having sex with each other, that he texts her all the time, and one day that he was over there and he ended up being late for work. He was supposed to open up the store at like 5:30 in the morning. He ended up getting there at like 6:30 in the morning. He had employees outside waiting on him for him to open up the store because he was at Jessica's house the previous day. That's why he was late. He ended up waking up late or whatever. And so I told him everything, and he was like, don't worry, it's confidential. You won't lose your job. I'm going to investigate the case and all of this. So the next day he was like, listen, let me talk to you again just to make sure that you're telling the truth. And I told him everything again that had happened, the same thing. And I wrote another statement, and I signed both of the statements. And he was like, well, these statements are going to go in my folder, so you don't have to worry about nobody finding out about you telling me this. I'm like, okay. He was like, are you sure that Dorothea don't know? And I was like, no, what does Dorothea have anything to do with this? Dorothea don't know anything. So I guess he questioned you. I don't know if he questioned you or not, but he was questioning a lot of people about it. So it was another girl named Jamise that he questioned, and Jamise wrote a statement about it too, because she was the one who ended up telling Peter that I was the main one that knew about the relationship or whatever. So probably about a week after I had wrote my statement, he said that he was going to investigate the case, which he was going to check phone records and all that other stuff. So he ended up getting suspended for, I think it was about a week or two. He got suspended with pay. And I was like, okay, well, he probably about to get fired, because as soon as he checked those phone records, they going to see that I'm telling the truth or whatever. So he checked the phone records, and 2 weeks later, Danny was back working. So I'm like, oh, wow. Like, he's back.
Eyes on the line. I got to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. And then I was like, wow, he's back like that or whatever. And I was like, so Jessica comes up to me and was like, you know, they checked his phone records, they didn't find anything. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. I was like, so what, you and Danny still talking to each other? She was like, yeah. I was like, that's crazy. You know, that you shouldn't be messing with him, because you're gonna get in trouble for it or whatever. She was like, I didn't tell Peter that I did. I told him I didn't do anything or whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. So the reason why they didn't find anything on his phone records is because it's a guy that was working behind the line, a cook, and he worked for the phone company. And what he did was, him and Danny was cool with each other. So he took Danny's SIM card or something like that and switched it with another SIM card. So when they checked his phone records, they didn't find nothing. No text messages, no phone calls, no nothing. So that's the reason why Danny got out of that, because the guy that was working behind the line, the cook, had switched his little SIM cards around. So that's how he got out of that one or whatever. So
he was part of it for a minute too.
Yeah, he was a part of it, but I guess he didn't show up, whatever. So probably it was January. It was like January 26th or something like that. I think it was. I was working, and I had a lady that came in there. Now it was 3 ladies that came in there. They sat at a table. It was like 220. I think the table number was 224. It was table 224. And it was 3 ladies, and then they was there for about an hour or so. And so 2 of the ladies got up and left. So the lady that was still there had asked me, can she move to the 2-top, because she didn't want to sit at the 4-top table when it was just her. So she asked, can she move to the 2-top, and I still had her food reigned under the 4-top. So I told her she could move to the 2-top or whatever. So her food is still on the 4-top. So she stayed for probably a good hour or so by herself, just, you know, reading her paperwork and stuff like that. And she was like, she just kept getting soup and salad. Like, that's what she ordered, soup and salad. She got different kinds of soup and salad, because the first time I rang it up, she had got a chicken and gnocchi soup, and that was at the other table. And the very last soup that she got was a minestrone. So Danny, because she had gave me a $100 bill for her to pay for it, and she just told me to give her, she told me to give her $90 back. So that I had got like a $2 or something dollar tip or whatever. So I gave her $90 back, and here comes Chuck. Melissa, can we talk to you in the back? I'm like, why? And he was like, just can we talk to you in the back? And then Danny comes out, like, Melissa, cash out your tables. I was like, I don't have no tables, I only have her. I'm cashing her out right now. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, have somebody else watch your section. I'm like, all right. I'm like, what do y'all want or whatever? And he was like, I saw you bring in, I didn't see you bring in her minestrone soup. And I was like, why would I bring in her minestrone soup when she getting soup and salad? I already bring in her chicken and gnocchi soup, and she just getting soup and salad. He was like, but there's nothing at this table. I don't have no checks stating that she rang her food up and she at this table. I was like, of course you don't, because she was at the table next to her and she moved over. And he was like, no, you're lying. I seen you take that $100 and put it in your pocket, and I didn't see you cash out the table or whatever like that. I'm like, I cashed out the table that's next to her. I was like, I rang up a water on her table just to know that this table was open and there wasn't nobody sitting there but her. So I just rang up a water just so I can know that this is her table. But I rang out her food at the next table, which was a $100 bill, and I cashed it out as a $100 bill, and I gave her $90 back or whatever. And so he was like, well, we have to investigate this situation. I'm like, y'all know I'm not stealing no soup and salad. I'm like, don't try to play me like that. And then I was like, I ain't about to steal no $6 soup and salad. I got kids to take care of. I don't have time for this or whatever. So I'm looking at Danny, and Danny was like, we've been having cases where, because 3 days before that, Jessica got fired because she was actually stealing soup and salads. And me and her was cool with each other, so I guess he just thought that I was probably doing it too or whatever. And And he was like, well, let me see your server book. And I was like, all right, here. And when he went in my server book, he seen the lady's soup and salad receipt that I had, which was for the other table, and then I had the water receipt that I had rang up. I had those 2 receipts in my book. And then he started searching through my server book, and it was a soup and salad ticket all the way in the back of my, not a soup and salad ticket, I'm sorry, a spaghetti and meatball ticket, all the way back in the back of my server book. And he was like, well, what's this old check? And I was like, let me see. And he was like, spaghetti and meatball. I was like, I didn't even know I had that in there. He was like, you're supposed to clean out your book every time you come, come in here from work. I'm like, it's a spaghetti and meatball. And he was like, yeah, but you know, this is grounds for termination if you have an old ticket in your book. I said, no, it's grounds for termination if you have an old soup and salad ticket in your book. This is a spaghetti and meatball. I was like, so what you trying to say? What y'all trying to say? He was like, well, you know, this is cause for stealing. You know, you can't be stealing food. I'm like, how am I stealing food? You know, or whatever. He was like, well, we're going to have to suspend you for at least 2 or 3 days so we can further investigate the situation. I was like, okay, whatever. So they ended up calling me on the 30th of January and telling me to come in there and talk to them. I'm like, well, do I still got my job? And he was like, I was like, do you want me to come in there with my uniform on? He was like, no, you're supposed to work a double tomorrow, right? I'm like, yeah. He was like, okay, just come in here and talk to us for right now, and we'll see how things go the next day. I'm like, all right. So I go in there and talk. Now we in the back. Chianti is the biggest room. It's the back furthest room. It's called Chianti, and he wanted me to come back there and talk to him in Chianti. Why? It's a whole bunch of guests surrounding us. Okay, and he's sitting up here telling me. I sit down. I'm like, can we go in the office and talk? Because it's customers around here, and I don't need them knowing what's going on or whatever. Oh no, we can sit right here. You know, we'll be very quiet about it or whatever. I'm like, all right. I'm like, so what's up? He was like, well, we talked to corporate, and they said that if you have an old soup and salad receipt in your book, then we have to terminate you. I said, I didn't have an old soup and salad ticket in my book. I had an old spaghetti and meatballs ticket in my book. And it was cashed out, and it was a credit card one. It's cashed out as a credit card. And he was like, well, the soup and salad that you have in your book, you didn't ring the lady in. I said, I did ring the lady in. Don't you see his ring under chicken gnocchi soup? And here's her cash out receipt right here. He was like, well, we have to terminate you because we believe that you were stealing. I said, you just fired me in front of all these customers for real? I was like, for real, Danny? I was like, for real, Danny? I said, Danny, you know why I'm getting fired. I was like, Jessica just got fired 3 days ago for the same reason. I said, Danny, you know why y'all firing me. And Danny looking at me like, you don't know what you're talking about. Just like a dumb fool. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, y'all, this is the last time y'all ain't gonna hear, this ain't gonna be the last time y'all hear from me. I promise to you. I promise. So my case is, I believe that they set me up. Well, I know now that they set me up because of Clarence. Because Clarence came over one day when we was all at Mama D's house, at Dorothea's house, and we all standing in there, and Clarence walks in like, Melissa, what you doing here? And I was like, what? He was like, oh, I know why you here. I'm like, why I'm here? He didn't even know about me being in the middle of this Olive Garden thing or whatever. He was like, yeah, me and Chuck was talking. Not Chuck. Me and Danny was talking. And Rich was talking, and they said that they got you. I'm like, what you mean? He was like, yeah, they set you up with them soup and salad things and make it look like you was stealing so you can get fired because you knew about Danny having sex with Jessica. I'm like, wow, for real? Because Clarence was real cool with all the managers, so he was talking to him, and you know, and they used to tell him stuff about things that's going on with some of the employees and stuff like that. So I was like, wow. He was like, yeah, they set you up. That's why you got fired. I was like, that's why I'm here, because I believe I got set up. He was like, you did. You got set up. Rich and Danny told me out their own mouth that they set you up with them soup and salads so you can get fired. Well, actually, Rich was telling him that Chuck and Danny was really the ones that set me up. I was like, ain't that something? So. But now they told me something that I'm lying and all this other bull crap and everything else. Told me something that it said something in my letter that I tried to pay them back when they was talking to me inside the office. They told me that I tried to pay them back the money. Well, here go the $6. You know, don't fire me. But that's not even the case. That none of that even happened. Like they're just lying on me, like lying. And Danny is still working there. He just in the Apple store. Like he's still there. And right now, as we speak, there is an employee inside the Olive Garden that is messing with Rich, that is actually having sexual intercourse every day and talking to and texting him every single day. Rich is having a relationship with one of the employees right now. And if you go to Olive Garden and you ask some of them employees, they'll tell you that I am not lying, that Rich is actually doing one of them employees. Now, what are they going to do about that? Probably move him to another store and fire the employee.
Well, Melissa, it seemed like you done been blackballed because you ain't been able to get it. You ain't been able to get a job since then. You were a whistleblower.
Yep.
And in all actuality, you wasn't a whistleblower. You just was the one that when they came to, you talked to them about it. You see what I'm saying? Because if you'd have been the whistleblower, you'd have sent something to court. Mm-hmm. So they need to stop mislabeling you first as the whistleblower. You just was a person that knew about it. That's it. You wasn't no whistleblower. You just knew about it. And it wasn't like he was sleeping with you.
Right.
So you really, them firing you was truly an injustice. You just got caught up in what we say, some bad stuff. You didn't even know it. You was just walking through the restaurant, minding your own business, mess around, befriend somebody, go to their house, and who car, and you see the little car and the little dog.
Yeah, little ugly little dog.
You know what I'm saying? You just got caught up. But it's an injustice because you got 3 kids that you feed off of that. Mm-hmm. It's an injustice because you can't get a job. It's an injustice because Olive Garden, and I thought it was illegal for previous employers to give you a bad reference.
Yeah, it is illegal. It is illegal, and I actually went online and tried to file a complaint with the Ohio Attorney General, but I haven't heard back from them because that's why I haven't had a job, because they was giving me bad references. And, you know, I don't like lying on my applications. I want them to know my experiences at wherever I was working at. Even if I did get fired, it's a reason why I got fired. It wasn't, you know, like that. But I do have experience. And then when you put down this job, that you got experience with this job, and they call this job, whoever the manager is there is saying, oh, no, she got fired for stealing. You know, that's what they say, I got fired for stealing. And if that wasn't even the case, I didn't get fired for stealing.
They blackballed you, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. Mm-hmm. And we're glad that you came on so that we can hear your story, and the viewers can hear your story from you, because this is real. When you get blackballed in a city, or you get blackballed by a big corporation, that it changes your life. You might have to go to school and pick up another career in order to get a job here. Mm-hmm. Whereas you won't be using Olive Garden as a reference because it's not in that field.
Right.
You know, good thing you're young though. You know, that's the good thing about it. And God don't put no more than what we can bear on us. So I'm sure that one thing about the truth, you can play with it. You can turn it around, but at the end of the day, and someday, somebody gonna find out the truth. Mm-hmm. And as long as you persistent and you keep telling the same story, then it's the truth. I think you guys need to be, you need to be contacting the Attorney General office and asking them what's going on. You know, how are you guys going to address this? Because I've been blackballed. You need to go through back with all your previous... Remember you said you had one employer that said, we can't hire you because of... Okay. You need to go back to that employer, or make sure you go back to where your documentation was at. And you need to submit that to the Attorney General and ask them about what are you guys going to do? Because this is disrupting my life. I can't get a job. This is disrupting my life. I can't be a role model for my children. My children were used to seeing me get up and going to work. So, you know, you have to put more emphasis on how this is really affecting you.
It's affecting me bad because I lost. After I got fired from Olive Garden, I lost everything. I had to move back in with my mother in a 2-bedroom apartment. Me, my mother, my daughter, which my sons are staying with their dad at the time right now. But it's me, my mother, my daughter, and my older brother. Okay, we sleeping on the floor because I ain't had got no job. I'm going through too much right now, and I've been looking and just crazy. Like, I lost everything. I don't have no car no more. I had my own place, paying my own rent, my own bills, didn't have to worry about nothing. Buying my kids clothes when they needed, shoes, everything. I can't even do that. I can't even do that no more. Because I don't have no money. You know what I'm saying? I get child support, but it's nothing. It's, you know, it ain't nothing to live off of. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
enough to go buy, you know, a pop or, you know, a $20 pair of shoes or something like that, you know, but it's just crazy. I'm like, I lost a lot after I stopped working at Olive Garden.
Well,
A
we're
lot.
glad that you came and let us know about this story. So, pretty much, Daniel is the reason why you got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Because you knew about Daniel's personal business. And for some reason, the corporate is all right with what the 4 horsemen do up in there and who they run over, and they don't care. The key is secrecy. And I feel like, who was the dude that came and was doing all the investigating?
Peter
Peter set you up.
told me I wasn't going to lose my job. It was going to be confidential and all types of stuff.
Right. Peter set you up as a whistleblower, and you know, that's not good. So, you guys definitely need to keep the fight on, but you need to really get the tallying up. You know, what could help me get out of this situation? Because right now they put you in a terrible situation. You don't have any funds. You lost your car. You had to move back home with mama. It's, you know, it's just a disaster. They've created a disaster in your life. I'm glad you came on to do this story, and we're going to keep, I'm sure they're going to send you a letter too about you better stay off of Nation Talk.
Oh, they already told me. They already said, oh, yeah, that's another thing. They're threatening to prosecute us because we're doing this media thing, because we're getting our stories out here, and we want everybody to know what we going through and what people are still going through. Even though those managers are gone, these employees are still going through things at this job. And what we went through is crazy. And, you know, we're trying to tell everybody this is what the Olive Garden managers that was working at Olive Garden did to us and what they would do to you. If you go to the Apple store and work, they're going to do it to you. You know, they're going to find a reason to fire you that's not the right reason. And we're here trying to tell everybody our story, and they're threatening on prosecuting us because we're telling our story. And they see that we not they didn't know I was gonna be on here, but I'm here now, and I want y'all to know I'm not going anywhere. So sue me, cause you ain't getting nothing anyway, cause I ain't got nothing.
Well, alrighty. Is there any other thing you want to say? Anything else you want to say?
I'm serious. They not gonna get nothing. You can check my pockets. I ain't got a penny on me. Y'all ain't gonna have
You
nothing.
so broke you ain't even got lint in that bag.
Right, so don't. Ain't no
You had to
lint
sell
nowhere.
it to get here to Nation Talk. Well, this has been Nation Talk, and this has been Sister Brown. And today we was with the family. But I got another guest coming up in our last segment of today. And tell you what, I think you need to hold on to your hat. She seemed like she might be a little live. This is Sister Brown. We'll be back in a few minutes. Holla if you hear me. All right.